Welcome back, algo learners. Today we're going to cover moving average crossover. And so I'm in our moving underscore AVG underscore version 2, V2 strategy that we were working on last time. Let's go ahead and just copy this, Control C, and let's just set up a new strategy. Okay. I'm going to create a strategy. Let's just call this moving underscore AVG V3. Hold. Code my strategy. All right, I'm going to paste at the very top. Control V. And we're going to delete everything. And we'll delete the rest. Okay. So basically the concept, the trading strategy that we're going to be coding is this. If the 5-day moving average, well, we're going to have two moving averages. We're going to have a 5-day and we're going to have a 10-day. And if the 5-day, of course, we would call the fast moving average, and the 10-day we would just call the slow moving average. 10 days is really not slow, but we're just going to go ahead and call it the slow. And so if the 5-day goes above the 10-day moving average line, our belief is that, our hypothesis, if you will, is that it's a momentum play and we're going to buy long. And as long as the 5-day moving average line is above the 10-day moving average line, we're going to stay long. But if that 5-day moving average closes or crosses below the 10-day, then we're going to sell short. So we're going to change our positioning on that, and we're going to go sell short. And as long as the 5-day stays below the 10-day line, we're going to stay short. And then if it crosses above the 10-day line, then we'll switch and we'll go long. And so that's the basic trading strategy. So let's go ahead and go to our code. I am going to say only two positions. We're only going to work with two positions here. We'll go back in the next session to our S&P 500 set, but for now, be a lot easier just to look at two positions. And let's just go with Apple, and we'll pick deer. Okay, so those two. And I'm going to go ahead and pound out the securities 500. We'll come back to that later. Oh, and I already had changed this to 2, securities underscore 2. And so make sure you change that in your context universe, or else this will not work. And so then we're putting, of course, our list into a data frame. And so we'll have our 2 in a data frame, our 2 positions in a data frame. We're going to define the number of days on our moving averages. So we have our fast, our slow, and our long term. Let's go ahead and change our slow from 20 down to 10. Okay, we have our counters from the last time. We're going to leave them there. Our schedule functions, we're going to leave them there. If you recall, so our trade market open is going to run every day right at market open. We do have a cancel open, so if there's any orders that remain open at the end of the day, they will be canceled. That will prevent us from executing multiple orders and causing us to use leverage and what have you. And for our testing, we really don't want to do that right now. The last function is the trade market close. So if you recall, we're going to go ahead and close out our positions 10 minutes before the market close. So we're only going to stay in our positions from morning of open to 10 minutes before close. And so what we're going to do, our strategy, so you can see here before trading start, we're going to go ahead and pull our data. Since we're only going to be working with the 2 moving averages, the fast and the slow, we really don't need to pull 200 days worth of data. We really only need to pull our 10 days of data. Okay, and so this is how we'll do that, and we'll pull our 10 days of data. So the previous day's close. So the previous 10 days, we're going to pull the closing price of both Apple and Deere, and we're going to do that before trading starts. And so we'll have our data. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and just eliminate this, so we don't need that anymore. So now we have market open, and so we're getting the backtest date. We're printing the date and time, so we'll have that. We are going to rename our context universe _df to just df to make things simpler. So we have that. I'm going to delete this print line because we're not going to need it. Now we're going to create a series of data for each of our stocks. We're not going to need the long term, so we're not going to do the long term line. But we have two lines. And so we have the SMA slow, and so we have our 10-day, and we take the mean of that. So we have all of our 10 days of closing prices, and we're going to take the mean. And then we have our 5 days of closing prices, and we're going to take the mean of that. And so that will be representative of our line. And we're not going to need to know what type it is. And so we have our current price. So we're going to do data.current. And we're going to, of course, our context universe would just be the two positions. And we're going to pull the open price at market open. Okay. We are going to add some series already to the data frame. And so we're going to add our slow line, our fast line, which are just points in time. So we're just going to add our point for the market open, and so that will be our mean. Basically, will be added to the data frame, and then our fast mean will be added to the data frame. Then our current price will be added to the data frame. So we'll have that. I'm just going to go ahead and clear out all this logic, and we'll start from scratch. So don't worry about that. And then all of this pounded out logic, I'm going to eliminate all the way down to the function of trade market close. So yes, we are clearing some things out wholesale here. All right, so now what? All right, so let's go ahead at this point. Let's go ahead and start some of our trading code. Let me make sure I got my notes right so I know where I want to go. Okay, all right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to create two data frames. So let's go create data frames for trades. All right, so we're going to do a data frame _BL for buy long. And we're going to use the data frame that we have existing. And what we're going to want from that, we're going to look at two things. We just want to know in the data frame. So we're going to basically take all of the positions, and we're going to, which is just apple and deer, and we're going to take a look at each one of them, and we're going to see if they fit into this. We're going to put some conditions here, and we're going to see if they fit into this new data frame, and for the buy long data frame. And so the first thing that we're going to look at is if the SMA _fast, so the fast line, if the fast line is over, greater than, so if it basically is above the SMA slow line, then that's it, right? I want to make sure. Just go ahead and just bear with me here. Okay, I just want to get all my syntax right. Okay, so if the fast line has crossed, it's over the slow line, then we're going to populate that stock position and all the data from DF into a new data frame called data frame _buy long, and that's going to be our targets for our buy long. And so what I want to do here is I want to print. I'm going to do here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do number of buy longs. And so we're going to do some things a little differently here. So we're going to go ahead and do B, and then we're going to hit the single close quote, and then we're going to hit dot format. All right, and we're going to do B, equals, so we're just basically assigning what B is going to equal inside this print. So whatever we assign B here after format, it's actually going to print where we see B inside the quotes. All right, and so this is going to be the length. So we just want to know the length of BF underscore BL for by long. All right, and I think I might have, no, I think I'm good there. I think I'm good. I do not need this one. All right, so I did have one extra one. All right, so we have that. And so now let's go ahead and look at the data frame for the cell shorts. So we're going to go to the old data frame and we're going to just take a look, and you probably can already tell what we're going to do here. And we're going to see, well, if the SMA fast is going to be less than the data frame for our column for SMA slow. So that's where we're going to populate all of our cell shorts. Then we're going to print. So number of cell shorts. And let's just put this at S. Format. B equals the length of our data frame underscore SS. Okay. All right, so we've created our data frames for our trades. Now we're going to do context. Well, here we're going to go ahead and the first thing that I want to do is this is going to be our trading logic. So here we go. We're going to create trading logic. So I'm just going to call it create trades and place trades. Create and place trades. Okay, so let's start out. Context dot num underscore trades, and so the number of trades, and we're gonna it's gonna go in basically data frame by long, and then we're gonna add that to the length of our data frame cell short. And okay, and so all we're doing here is we're just going to add up the number of positions in each of these data frames. And that's going to be the number of trades that we place. We're going to do this because it's going to allow us to weight our trades. So like, you know, we only have 2 positions here. And so that's not really much of an issue. But if we have 30 positions, or if we're looking at 50 positions, and we want to weight each of them equally in the portfolio, then we really need to work on this weighting concept. And so what we're going to do is if the context of num trades equals 0, so basically if there's nothing in our data frames, and really the only way that that can happen in this case is if the fast line equaled on the dot the slow. And so if that happened for both Apple and Deer, well, then it would be 0. And if it would be 0, then our context dot weight would equal 0. Okay, but let's do elif context num trades is greater than 0, which most likely it will be, then our context weight equals 1 divided by context num trades. So more likely we're always going to have, whenever we have our context universe was just apple and deer, so 2 positions. So our context dot num trades is going to be 2. And so 1/2, 0.5. 0.5 is going to be our context weight. Basically, 50% of our portfolio will be one of the other, apple or deer. Okay. All right. So I do want to do one thing here. I do want to go 1.0. All right. So that's our LF. Now that we have our weight, we're going to do a quick for loop here. So for the security ID in the df underscore by long index, we're going to do order target %, and that is SID context our weight. Okay. And the by long, so you notice that I did not put a negative in front of context.weight because we're not selling short, we're buying long. So I keep that positive. If I wanted to sell short, you'll see what we're going to do in a second. I also want to look at the current price though. CP for current price. I want to see exactly what we're buying it at. I want to be able to audit this and make sure that we are buying it at the right price. I can go back and check actual pricing just to see if the data that Blue Shift is pulling is accurate. Going to give me an opportunity to audit some things. Okay, so data current SID price. So all I'm doing here is once replacing the trade, I'm pulling the price immediately, so then we can see what price that we actually have bought in. Okay, so I'm going to put print. We're going to do buying long, and then we're going to go S. That will be our SID, and I'm going to go W. This is going to be for our weight. I'll do percentage. I'll put $sign. Let's do P for price. And then we're going to go, and we're going to go outside here, and then we're going to do format. Then we're going to define our variables. So S equals SID, and W equals 100 times, context weight, and P equals CP for current price. All right, so that's what we're going to print in the for loop. And then we're going to do our for loop for DF sell short index, and then we're going to do order target %. There's our SID, and there's our negative context weight. Why is it negative? Because we're selling short. And then we're going to pull down our current price. I'll just stay consistent here. Again, we pull down data, current, and that's the SID, basically the security that we just went ahead and sold short. And we're going to just pull down the price. All right, and what are we going to print into our log? So this will allow us to see our log and what we're doing. Selling short, and then we're going to do, all right, for our SID, S for SID, and then we're going to do our weight, %, and $sign P for our price, format, S equals SID, W equals 100, and we're going to do negative context weight and price equals current price. All right. All right, I feel pretty good about that. And so we create and place the trades. So we have our weights, we placed our trades, and then what happens after that? So let me so we get to our, so we're basically done. We're holding on to those positions for the entire day, and then 10 minutes before close, here's what happens. Okay, it's going to print our date and time just so we know, and hopefully the time that prints is 10 minutes before the market closed. We're asking, what is the length of our context portfolio positions? If it's greater than 0, okay, well then we're going to close out our positions. And so for the SID and the context portfolio positions, we're going to order target percent, SID 0. So we're going to clear out our positions. Let's go ahead and change this so we can get a little bit more. So we're going to get a little bit more granular here. So we're going to do our current price, because I want to be able to audit this. I want to be able to go back and go to the market pricing 10 minutes before it closes. I want to be able to pull down data from another source. I want to be able to audit this to make sure that the backtest is pulling the right data and that we're confident in the data pool and that everything is working the way it needs to be working. You would be surprised sometimes it doesn't, and that's why we want to audit it. And K, and then we're going to do closed. And we're just going to do closed position, and then we're going to do this. That's for SID, and then we're going to do W. Oh, no, actually, I'm just going to do $. P for price, and then we're going to do our format. We're going to do S equals SID, and then our price equals current price. And we're going to do that. That's what we're going to get. So when we close the position, we'll be able to see what price we closed for, and that will be, of course, again, something helpful for us as we go back and audit this. All right, let's go ahead and we have our handle data, which we're just going to pass. Remember, handle data runs every minute. So if we wanted to actually up our game and actually, instead of holding this position for the entire day, we can actually go minute by minute and see if the averages, if the slow moving average, or excuse me, if the fast moving average closes or crosses above the slow at any time. We can go ahead and rebalance our portfolio. We can go ahead and do all of that within handle data, and we might do that at a later session. But for now, we're just going to keep the trading logic as is. And then, of course, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, we're going to go to see if we have any open orders. And if we do, if for some reason some open order did not place, we're going to just cancel it. Okay. All right. So there we have it. That is our code. And let's just go ahead and see if we have any syntax errors and set up a quick run here. So we're going to go to NYSE minute, and we're going to go ahead and let's just go for the last 2 weeks. Actually, let's just go from the 22nd, and we'll go to the 26th here, and we're going to go ahead and hit run, and we'll just see, okay, error in line 80. All right, so what did I do here? Let's see. I see what I did wrong. Hate when that happens. There we go. All right. So we clean that syntax up. Oh, context weight. Let's go ahead and make this a float. Let's go ahead 0.0 and let's run that. Oh, okay. Error on line 82. I do not need a colon, and probably a lot of you were probably screaming when you saw that. Oh, he lost a colon. He's going to have a syntax. That's going to be a problem. You were right. 108. Man, I got a lot. 108. Find handle data. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the braces, curly brackets, whatever you want to call them. We're going to do S, and then we're going to do $, our brace again, P, close brace, and we're going to do format. We're going to do S equals SID, and then P equals CP. All right, and then we're going to close off our parenthetical, and that should do it for what happens at trade market close. Again, we have our handle data function, which happens 1 minute automatically, every minute automatically after market open. If we want to add logic in here to check every minute to see if the fast line goes above the slow line and vice versa, and then place trades accordingly, we could do that within this function. We'll be looking at that in future videos on how to use handle data function. And then, of course, our cancel open. So at market close, we're going to see if we have any open orders. If we do, we're just going to cancel them. It does happen. And so we want to make sure we cancel them out so we don't place double the orders the next day and end up using leverage, etc. So let's go ahead and take a look to see. I need to go ahead and look at this before we hit our view here. Let me open this here. See if I see any mistakes. Oh, here's one. All right, so I did not need a colon after that. That would have thrown us off. I want to say we have too many parentheticals here. Here's a problem. Parentheses. So we got that there. We got that there. I think we're good. Yep. Yep, we're good. Okay. Those are two errors that would have caused us a little bit of heartburn. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. Do a quick run here. And let's go back to our February 2021. And let's just go from the 22nd through the 26th. And let's run this. And we'll see if we have any syntax errors. Okay, line 77. Yes, there we go. It needs to be an S. Okay, because inside our braces we had an S, and so I was formatting a B instead of an S, and so that you guys are probably pulling your hair out saying, oh, he's going to get a syntax error. All right, here we go. And so over the last 5 days, our portfolio with Apple and Deer had done fairly well, almost 4%, drawdown on just a negative 0.24, an outrageous sharp, and a good alpha. So we really can't even pay attention to any of these numbers for over a week-long period. I just did this just to see if we had any syntax errors. And so here we go. We looked at the last 5 trading days. Here's our logs. All right, so you can see our logs are a little bit more jazzed up now, right? So we did the dot format, and we used braces, and we had variables. And so, you know, a little bit more of a professional log, if you will. Very little more professional, much little. But anyway, you could see here. All right, so on the 22nd at 9:30 in the morning, we ran our logic. Definitely we're going to have one. Remember, we only had Apple and Deer, and so we identified that one of them, which was Deer, the 5-day moving average was above its 10. And then the shorts, well, we identified Apple, so that must have been the 5-day moving average is below its 10. And so you can see what we did. 50% of the portfolio was allocated in a long position to Deer at $329.26. That was our purchase price. And then our selling short, yep, there it is, negative 50%. So we sold half the position, half the portfolio was allocated towards Apple and selling short. And, you know, the price at that open was at 129.48. And then 10 minutes before close, we closed out. We sold our position in Deer for a nice gain of almost $7 a share. And then look, Apple, we had a nice gain of almost $3 a share. You can go to the next day, and you could see we bought in at 331 on Deer, and then we got out at 336 on a long position, which was good. We did lose on Apple, though. We went short at 122.91, and we exited out at 129 or 126.28 10 minutes before close. So anyway, it appears to be working, and you know, we can go ahead and take a look at a slightly longer time frame. Let's go to the beginning of the year, and let's see what we've done here. So in the next session, folks, what we're going to end up doing, yep, you can see here, all right, you know, coming down to reality, probably not such a great strategy. We're only using 2 stocks, and we're using a 5 and 10-day moving average, and so forth. But again, the purpose wasn't to knock the cover off the ball here. It was just to show you some logic and how to show, you know, moving averages, crossing over, and placing trades accordingly. And so the other thing, let me just see if we ever, Just seeing here if we ever had two longs, two shorts. Oh, that's interesting. Here we go. And so here's a day where on the 6th, Apple must have, its 5-day must have gone over its 10-day. And so we identified it as a buy, and then same with Deere. And so, you could see there was a crossover there, and then we went ahead and pulled the trigger. What I would like to do, though, instead of holding, like for example, if the 5-day line goes above the 10-day line, we buy it, but we're holding it until the 5-day line crosses below the 10-day. That doesn't always work out really well because there could be times where our price has gone significantly below both the 5-day and 10-day moving average before the 5 goes below the 10, before the 5-day moving average goes below the 10-day moving average. And so what I'd like to try to set up in the next session is for us to identify all the positions where the day prior, the 5-day was below, let's just go for the long positions, where the 5-day was below the 10-day. And then the next day, the 5-day then crossed over above the 10-day. And we would then go into that position long for 1 day only. So basically the momentum has started. We went from underneath the slow line to now above the slow line, and then we enter, and then we'll exit, and we'll wait for it to happen again on the long side. On the short side, we're going to identify where the 5-day moving average is above the 10-day, and then the next day the 5-day crosses below the 10-day, and we are going to sell short immediately and then hold that short position for 1 day, for one trading day. And so that is a momentum play, but we're just focused on when the lines cross, we're going to enter the trade in and only stay in it for 1 day. And so we'll show how we're going to go ahead and code that, and that will hopefully improve a little bit. And what we'll also do is we'll get out of just looking at Apple and Deere. We'll go back to our universe of 500 stocks, and so we'll expand and we'll have our data frames for the buy longs and the sell shorts, and we'll be able to identify accordingly. So we'll do that in the next session. But if you like the session, go ahead and hit subscribe, and that will go ahead and alert you to the next posting of our next video. And remember, you got this.